The Three Little Pigs. In a bustling village, where the latest gossip was always just around the corner, three little pigs decided it was time to leave the nest and stand on their own four hooves. The world was their oyster. They had many opportunities.
The world was their oyster.
The world was really their oyster.
The world was your oyster.
It felt like the world is your oyster, like everything was going to go your way.
The world is your oyster as much as it ever was.
And each pig had a different plan for grabbing life by the horns, taking control of life.
Grabbing life by the horns, changing your destiny.
Going out there and grabbing life by the horns.
He's taking charge. He's grabbing the bull by the horns.
Already sort of grabbing that by the horns.
Which have the foresight and luxury of grabbing the bull by the horns.
Bullets grabbing the bull by the horns.
The first pig, a real couch potato, someone lazy.
Than being a couch potato.
White guy who's the happy couch potato.
She wasn't a couch potato.
Digital couch potato.
You don't want a couch potato.
Weren't of your domestic couch potato type.
Now for the rest of the night and just be a couch potato.
Thought life was a piece of cake. Very easy. And decided to build his house out of straw.
Everything in our life is going to be a piece of cake.
Making your own website is a piece of cake.
Fantastic. My marriage is a piece of cake.
Finished it by saying it was a piece of cake.
Example, your blood sugar spikes after you eat a delicious piece of cake.
Why break a sweat, he chuckled, putting up his straw house faster than you can say, Jack Robinson. As he lounged, sipping his lemonade, he mused, "Home, sweet home. Easy come, easy go." Blissfully unaware that his choice was about to blow up in his face, result in an unexpected problem.
That'll blow up in your face.
It can blow up in your face.
How about all this? I'm not gonna let it blow up in our face.
It's one which will blow up in the government's face again.
Would blow up in his face.
They're just going to blow up in your face, and if you're just waiting to be sure.
Minimum of what I have to do for it to not blow up in my face.
The second pig, a bit of a fence sitter, someone indecisive.
Or a fence sitter.
Either way.
Yeah, well,
and you're a bit of a fence sitter, aren't you, when it comes to...
He remains a background character, a fence sitter.
I have spent my entire career being kind of a fence sitter between astronomy and physics.
You're a fence sitter, Aaron. You are room temperature Coca-Cola.
Didn't want to work his tail off, work very hard.
And they will work their tail off.
That I will work my tail off for you.
Have to work your tail off just to make ends meet.
Work your tail off and have victories.
And work my tail off to do so. Work your tail off to make your product effing outstanding.
But also didn't fancy his house being blown down at the first huff and puff. He chose sticks for his home, thinking he'd hit the sweet spot, the perfect balance.
And then hit the sweet spot with a karate chopping motion. Whether or not you hit the sweet spot.
I think that they just hit the sweet spot in terms of casting.
Let's understand how to hit the sweet spot.
Very hard to hit the sweet spot, but then you have hit the sweet spot.
For a while, you have to hit the sweet spot.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, he reasoned, patting himself on the back for his wisdom. Little did he know, he was picking the lesser of two evils, choosing the better of two bad choices.
To choose one of them as the lesser of two evils.
About the lesser of two evils.
The lesser of two evils.
Democrats, possibly the lesser of two evils.
Vote for yet. Constantly choosing the lesser of two evils is still choosing evil.
To pick the lesser of two evils.
Maybe you've only ever voted for the lesser of two evils.
And it wasn't going to pan out, work out well,
here's how it's going to pan out.
A huge distraction that didn't pan out.
When you do the sums, though, it doesn't really pan out.
In case things didn't pan out.
Should Trump not pan out?
And still might not pan out.
As he hoped. The third pig, the embodiment of hard work and dedication, knew there were no shortcuts to any place worth going. Choosing bricks for his house, he rolled up his sleeves, ready to work like a dog.
I know you worked like a dog.
Has worked like a dog whistle.
We worked like a dog to...
I worked like a dog.
And they worked me like a dog.
My parents worked me like a dog.
Work very hard. The early bird catches the worm. He hummed as he laid each brick with care. This pig wasn't just building a house. He was building a fortress, brick by brick. Then came the big bad wolf, a smooth talker who thought he could wolf down, eat quickly, all 3 houses before dinner. He came to the straw house, licked his chops, and boasted, "This is going to be like taking candy from a baby." Very easy to do.
Tricking us is like taking candy from a baby.
I thought it was the political equivalent of taking candy from a baby.
This is like taking candy from a baby.
As for dementia, this robbery truly is like taking candy from a baby.
The result is like taking candy from a baby.
Like taking candy from a baby.
And with a huff and a puff, the straw house was history. The pig barely escaped with his bacon, barely escaped.
Group attacks the academy and he is barely able to escape with his life.
In the end, Spike barely managed to escape with his life, with everyone in his old life believing he died.
Eventually, as the subtitle suggests, he did barely escape North Korea with his life.
You managed to barely escape a confrontation in an alleyway with two Ifrit.
At the stick house, the wolf had to put his back into it, work harder, but
he didn't actually put his back into it and force.
No, the honourable gentleman says he put his back into it.
People who are willing to put their back into it, whether you want to call them leaders or not.
it still managed to make kindling of the place. The second pig ran for the hills, realizing too late that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have everything.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
And said, look, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Always a balance. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Actually incompatible. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
I think you've heard it said, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right? They say you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Who says you can't have your cake and eat it too?
Finally, the wolf arrived at the brick house, expecting another walk in the park. But this house was tough as nails. No matter how he huffed and puffed, the house stood its ground. The wolf, now at his wit's end, frustrated.
I am at my wit's end.
Some of them realized that I was at my wit's end.
And I'm at my wit's end one day, and I'm like, and I was just at my wit's end, and
do come. I am at my wit's end.
When I'm exhausted and I'm just like at my wit's end, I
realized this wasn't going to be a cakewalk. Easy task. The third pig shouted from the window, "Better luck next time. What goes around, comes around." The consequences of one's actions will have to be dealt with eventually.
What goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around.
Well, you know, what comes around goes around. Now,
Describing this, what goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around.
you say, what goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around.
As the wolf trudged away, defeated. In the end, the 3 little pigs learned that in the game of life, you can't just wing it. Do something without planning. The moral of the story? Whether you're building houses or dreams, remember, you reap what you sow. Put in the elbow grease, and you'll be in hog heaven, a very happy place.
We truly thought we were in hog heaven.
I'd be in hog heaven.
Well, he was in hog heaven because
I'm in hog heaven.
So I was just in hog heaven, and this was...
I'm in like hog heaven right now.
Just like our third pig. So, the next time life throws you lemons, remember our 3 pigs. Will you make lemonade, or will you build something that lasts? Remember, every cloud has a silver lining. Every bad situation has a positive aspect.
Every cloud has a silver lining?
Every cloud has a silver lining.
After all, every cloud has a silver lining.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Look, just because I can see that every cloud has a silver lining and
every cloud has a silver lining.
And with a little hard work, you'll find yours. And they all lived happily ever after. Well, at least the one who built the brick house did.